Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Katt Williams. What's up,
Thank
King?
you. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, one more hop, I'll be on top. How
Prepare
about you?
for your hop. Doing
Yeah.
great. Doing great.
Yeah, you're doing great, man. Cleveland, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio.
But were you, my bad. You were born in Cincinnati.
Yep. I was
And
born
then
in
you were
Cincinnati.
raised in Dayton.
And raised in Dayton, correct.
Man,
yeah.
you know, we had a show in Dayton once, and it almost like provoked a full-blown riot. You know, in Dayton, they had these cops with these big old 10-gallon hats.
They did.
Big old white cornbread-fed dudes, and they were telling us, y'all gonna either pay for all of this equipment that y'all destroyed on the stage. We destroyed, allegedly, equipment, band equipment that belonged to After 7 and Troop.
Oh, my.
We were on the same
Got
ticket
it. Yeah.
as After 7 and Troop. We
Yeah.
destroyed their equipment,
Allegedly.
and they told us, y'all gonna pay for this stuff or y'all going to jail. And so we basically just did the show for free because we gave all that money back. But Dayton that's will forever be like embedded in my memory, Dayton, Ohio, for that reason. But
I'm sorry
what
that you
do
had a
remember?
bad memory.
But what are some good memories that you have from Dayton?
Part of what you remember is a part of Dayton. So Dayton was one of the rare cities in America that was legitimately half black and half white. So there was power on both ends. I came from a very powerful family in Dayton just because of our sheer numbers. So there were 13 on my father's side and 7 on my mother's side. So I had like 100 first cousins in one city. Like, we just had a large family, and it was a great place for black people, and it was a great place for white people. It's just that you really couldn't be legitimately racist because your neighbors were of another color, if that makes sense. So,
What's the power dynamic? Was it mostly white people running it or black people?
well, that's the dynamic of America at that particular time. One of my uncles was the chief of police. Another was the head pastor in town, and had some cocaine dealing uncles as well. So we were really rooted in the city, but it was a city of money. So we had Cooper Tires, we had Dayton Tires, we had IBM, we had NCR, we had Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, we had University of Dayton. These are all places where you can make 6 figures even at that time. So it was a lot of money there. As far as on the radio, we would hear every hour 5 or 6 artists that were from where we were from. So we thought that was a part of it. We hearing the Ohio Players, and Roger Troutman in Zapp's studio is our bus stop when we're 7 years old. Like, so I met Prince while I was in Dayton when I'm 12. Like, it was a very vibrant community for black people.
So you saw a lot of the street stuff. How did you end up? First of all, did you end up doing any of the street stuff, participating in any of that street activity? You mentioned your uncles selling drugs and all of that.
Well, I leave Dayton, Ohio right before I'm 13. So I'm still at a young age. I'm just having heightened experiences because of my childhood and my background. So, I've always had money, but I don't come from money. So I was able to cut grass in the summer, and I was able to shovel snow in the winter. That's what I was allowed to do. So, But consequently, even as a kid, I'm making like $6,000-$7,000 a year, and this is
At 12 years old?
before that, at 10. At 10, just because that's what I was allowed to do, and I'm a hustler by nature. Like if I get a hold of a lick, I want to see how many times it flips, not if it flips. You know what I mean? So once I'm gone from there, I'm trying my hand at other things, door to door, and I had already made $1 million before I was 18, doing door to door across the country. So I had already tested out what were the positive things about me, and how I could use that to my advantage economically from an early age.
Is it true that you emancipated yourself from your parents at 13? Because I read that somewhere.
Well,
I think it was Wikipedia said something like that.
I wouldn't shame the family. What I would say is that it can't be called run away because I didn't run away. I left, but I don't tell that part of the story just because there's a zero chance that if a young person listens to me and follows my example on that they'll be okay. But I knew I would be, but I was a little off. Like I knew Jesus left home at 13, so I didn't feel like I was out of pocket in any way.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that at 13 years old you was cognizant of the story of Jesus leaving home at 13 years old?
I had been accepted to college before I was 12, so I was already a little bit more advanced than your average child. I had probably read 10,000 books at that period in my life. So I was blessed in that way. But as you know, you can't really just live on that. So God navigated where I was able to see the underworld, if you will. So I go from my parents' house in Ohio to Miami, Florida by myself. I don't know nobody. And that's where the story begins. But
in your formidable years, who is that person? Was there a single individual who inspired you, or some guy or a person that you looked up to and you said, I like the way that they move and I want to model myself after that person?
Yeah, this is going to be a weird answer. Yes, that's one of the things that I was probably the best at. I did it with anybody and everybody. So when I was going to the library, I wasn't reading fiction books. I was reading nonfiction books, and it didn't matter what it was. I know whatever's in this book, I don't know what it is. So I might have read like 1,000 autobiographies, just the life of people that I don't know. And when you do that, you find out that if you were trying to learn something from everybody, you could actually learn something from every single person that you met. And so it's that type of thinking that helped me avoid the pitfalls as I saw them. So the reason I never did drugs when I was an adult is because when I left and went to Miami and I'm living in a park, it's 30 people out there from all different places, and they all are homeless and in a terrible situation just like me. And they telling me that they used to be lawyers and doctors and nurses, and I'm going, well, what happened? And all of them is telling this story where everything in their life was fine, and then they dealt with this drug, and this is where it ended them out. So as a kid, I never saw the fun part of drugs. I never heard about nobody having a good time on drugs or, oh, you got to take this so you can feel it. I didn't see it from that way. I had already seen what it would do to people, and they're telling me, like, I'm letting people tell me, hey, don't do this. Don't get to Hollywood and start sleeping with white women and doing cocaine because it'll kill you. Oh, yeah, no problem. Got it. So, in a lot of things, I was just stupid enough to get the lessons, but that came from being willing to learn something from everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you out on the streets?
Well, it sounds so harsh when you say on the streets. Just understand that I'm in slacks and a shirt and a tie every day, and I'm eating at a 5-star restaurant because I done worked this deal with the restaurant where I come in at 5 in the morning and I come and do the floors and clean up everything the bus people didn't do, knock out the old dishes. I do all of that, but I get to eat there for free. So I come later and have a 5-star lunch as a 12-year-old because I'm already smoking cigarettes, but I got a mustache, so I don't look out of place. And then I go and I do my 8 hours in the library to take the place of what schooling would have been. So 2 hours were spent collecting radios from people's cars at the marina, which funded me to at least have $700 or $800 a week in my pocket. So that was the situation for, I'll say, 12 months.
Was there somebody who came along, a social worker or something like that, and saw you and said, yo, or talked to you, it's like, yo, I can help you out, or you should do this or that?
No, you're looking at it a different way than I was looking at it. I wasn't in a pitiable situation by any means. I was free. And it was an adventure that I was on. And I had already read all of these books. I know how this goes. I know that a terribly scary adventure is nothing for the warrior. He doesn't need to be in a good position. There is a God, and he's going to see you through. You just have to make sure that you're hitting the marks to qualify for the blessing. So I was never in a situation where someone would think that I needed some assistance.
Where were you sleeping at?
In the park that I told you about, across the street from the library in Coconut Grove.
Like on the ground, on the bench?
No, they had a mattress out there. I had money, so people would get you stuff.
Why didn't you just take your money and go get a crib?
At 13?
Yeah.
It never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Never crossed my mind.
Because I really do. I know it's young, but I do know people who are very young. If somebody is young enough to go out on the streets and just say, I'm leaving home,
Yeah.
a lot of times, and if they got money, they're savvy enough to
It's not
get
that I
somebody
have
to
money.
pay them.
I'm making some money. I don't have money. I'm making some money.
Enough to get by.
Well, I'm saying I don't have a long list of needs on the daily. I need to eat well. I need to drink well.
And where are you keeping your money? Like in your pocket?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Anybody ever try to rob you?
No, I did have somebody try to violate me while I was out there. I think because I didn't know really what gay people were, so I wasn't really clear. I knew how gay people acted as I had seen, but I wasn't aware that it had a sexual connotation to it. So as soon as the guy kept talking to me like he liked me, I was really confused because guys don't like guys. And I'm trying to figure out, is there something about your background that makes you talk like a lady while you're talking to me? But yeah, I had that as a situation. But other than that, no, I wasn't frequently tried as a young person.
Yeah. So I'm asking some of these questions that I'm asking because I'm really trying to figure out like how did you develop your psyche? Like you're a very insightful dude.
Right.
Just trying to figure out like where did that start at? Can you pinpoint a specific time and space where you said, you know, yeah, um, I get it. I see what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Probably like 5 years old.
Hmm.
Um, First and foremost, this is going to sound really, really weird, but I believed at that young age that you could have a relationship with God. And I know that that's kind of old fashioned now. Um, but when I was young, that's what I believed. And so I developed this relationship where we talk 4 or 5 times a day and we talk about everything. And I'm coming to you when things are well and when it's not well. And if I ask for something, I know when you gave me what I asked for because it's the only time. So I understood at a young age that I wasn't like everybody else, that I was in a blessed position and that I had the ability to be able to make things happen if I could find the instructions and follow them. So at 5 years old, that's how I thought. I knew when things were wrong with the Bible. I wasn't worried about authority because God was like the authority. And other than that, I got to tolerate you, but I'm not allowed to bow down. I'm like that as a child. So my parents didn't do anything wrong. They just wanted me to live a life that I wasn't going to live. They wanted me to be this, and I was not free to live a double life. I can't be that and be what I'm trying to be.
What was that they wanted you to be?
Um, a part of their religion.
Hmm.
They were
Was
very
that
devout
Christians?
in religion.
Christian.
Yes,
Did,
a branch of Christianity, yes.
at one point, did you become a Muslim?
At one point, I became several religions because that's the only way you can really find out what's going on in a religion. Religion is not something that you can just study the books about it and now you know about them. I had to be a member of the Fruit of Islam in order to know. Minister Farrakhan calls me his son. I was not regular even in that endeavor, just because whoever the true God is, I don't play about him. And I understand that regardless of what you choose to call him, it's the same entity. And once you study all of the religions, you find out that nobody's really disagreeing with anybody. The Jews don't believe this whole set of things that Christians don't, and Muslims either.
Why are people so afraid of Farrakhan?
Well, if you had the ability to control the black people on this planet, there isn't anything that you couldn't take, dismantle, destroy, or interrupt if you could mobilize black people. And so part of the ops agenda, a part of their modus operandi, is to find out which one of you niggas is a potential leader. And if you are, then we begin a work of progress on your life, which will make people get off of that. It's a part of it, as much as in any defense, you trying to figure out which way this dude is likely to go so I can rip that ball. It's the same.
Yeah. Farrakhan is a polarizing individual. A lot of people
Yes.
really, I do believe, don't really understand him. I think that there are people who gets the message. This is what frightens them, is because they know, as you alluded to, they know what he's capable of doing. You know, uniting black people and guiding and leading black people in the right way.
There's not been a successful one of those yet. So just like if you're a rapper, any rapper can get hit. Yeah, we don't have we can go through 300 years of history and look for all the black people that fit the description you just said. They never make it.
Yeah, which is why I believe that they should stop trying to make it. I really do believe that, it's each one reach one, teach one, but the leadership is in yourself. Like, all of us are capable, well, not all of us, but many of us are capable of being a leader. Like, instead of sitting around just waiting on one person to be that leader, how about...
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said. But in real time, being the leader of yourself gets you nothing. The people demand to be led, regardless. There's not 13 shepherds and all these sheep. Why? Because it's unnecessary. Just one. Just one that has the connection with the sheep, which allows the sheep who has a brain about that small to be able to just focus on eating grass and not worry about falling off a cliff. We have the desire as humans to be led. We want to be led into battle. We want to be led into the football game. This is all because this is how we are wired. The cheerleaders and the pomp and circumstance, that goes back to the times of first humanity, because we do need that.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about a myriad of leaders. You're not just talking about a single individual.
Right.
And I see a lot of people just be sitting back waiting on a messiah. They're waiting on that one person.
But they are too, though.
Who's that?
The other side is far more diligent about looking for that Messiah than we are, because they know where to look. You probably wonder, why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer is over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still going to be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity. That's just why they chopped those noses off of the Pharaoh and the Sphinx in Egypt in the first place, is because without this nose, we can tell you this is whoever it is. But with that nigga nose, it can only be niggas. Why would somebody vandalize a whole face and only vandalize one part? Nobody wanted to knock an eye off or take an ear off or no chins missing. No, just the nose. Because it's a brand. It's a brand. All right, go ahead.
You have an uncanny way of thinking outside of the box, and you are very good at breaking things down like you just did. You understand consequences and repercussions very well.
Okay.
So my question to you is, why are you such a habitual line stepper? Why do you cross that line so often when you know what the repercussions and consequences are going to be? And they're not going to be favorable to you. For example,
Right.
I saw where you and Suge got arrested, right? You and Suge got arrested. Is that true?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Like, and
What were we doing?
allegedly it had something to do with like some type of photography, camera or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm just sure.
Oh.
I'm just saying this is what I read.
Well,
I'm
I'll
not,
tell you the story,
yeah,
and
okay.
you tell
Tell me
me
the story.
then does that change how you frame this?
Okay.
So we have a meeting with a hologram company, which is going to go into a licensing deal on some holograms. This is in Beverly Hills. So now there's a rodeo, and behind that is an alleyway where you park your vehicles. That's where we are. Suge has brought his son with him who's 5 years old. And before we go into this meeting, Suge's son runs behind the dumpster and urinates. And a lady films his penis out, peeing behind the dumpster. And then says, "Oh, I thought that was Katt's kid." So yeah, that's what happened.
See, man. This is
So
why.
understand, we were
yeah.
facing 20 years,
Yeah.
Suge and I. 20 years for that. And if it wasn't for the fact that this is Beverly Hills and it's all on camera, they had no problem sending us up the river when we couldn't have possibly done what was being said. That lady said that she got jumped on by me.
So you see what you just did? You just clarified a huge, misconception about, the events of that evening or whatever.
Yeah, but remember, it went to court.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't just my word.
Yeah.
They had to play the video in court, which showed that her altercation wasn't with a man at all.
But the trip part about it is that when people print it, when the media, mainstream media put it out there, they don't add that piece. They
No,
just say,
nor do they make a retraction.
Right.
Nor do they say, "Hey, that thing we told you about that
Right.
guy, turns out it was nothing." Understand, I got 15 cases that were dismissed. That should be talked about. Why would 15 cases be dismissed? Because you were so sure you had what you were looking at. Because every city I go to, I'm the nigga with the best car. It's probably smoke coming out that car. It's probably girls gathering around that car. I look like the plug. I get it. And you've probably already hurt me by the time you find out who I actually am.
right. See, because of that clarity you just provided,
Yes.
is the reason why I want to know. I think the world want to know what happened between you and Ali Sadiq. I know you said
The
you didn't want
world
to talk
couldn't
about it.
possibly want to know
wanna
that.
know,
He's
man.
not
We wanna-
famous enough for the world to want to know that.
At least we're
Because
famous.
my side of the world doesn't want to know that. See,
Well, my side of the world.
here's the thing.
What happened, man?
A lot of times what liars do first is they set up a narrative and a scenario. Like Michael Blackson just got on national TV and told people, "Yeah, I got a beef with Katt Williams, and Katt is mad at me about this, and because I said this, and I didn't even mean it like that." And the whole time, he's never talked to me. That's how he feels. He's heard I'm angry. I've not had a conversation with him. It's the same with your Ali Sadiq. If it wasn't for the information that I know in my intel, I would be a fan of his like everybody else. Who wouldn't be a fan of a young black storyteller that's done time and loves his family and is a hometown guy? Like, why would he ever have any enemies in comedy? It's ludicrous. But if you pick the actual king, then make sure that your story's correct. And unfortunately, his story's not correct. No matter what he says, he never met me. He made it disrespectful that a security guard that was 6'7" reached over him to pay him, not mentioning the fact that he got paid for not doing anything.
Well, let's start at the beginning of the Reliant thing.
I don't know if I wanna.
I'm
But
gonna
go
start,
ahead.
and then you can do what you want to do.
Fair enough.
But I think for the sake of the audience knowing, just
Tell them
having
who
an
Ali
idea of
Sadiq
what we're
is
talking
first.
about. Ali Sadiq is a comedian from Houston that's based in Houston.
A very fine comedian.
Very fine comedian.
Yes.
Now, Ali said that he went to Reliant Arena and he was on the same show as you. He showed up, and the security stopped him from entering the building. And they said, and then somebody told him Katt didn't want you to come in. And then at some point, somebody else came and gave him a check. Another security person reached over somebody's shoulder and gave him a check. He said that the people that were the working security locked arms to prevent him from walking inside of the building. And he thought that, you had a problem with him. And he said he didn't know why you had a problem with him. And to this day, he don't know why you have a problem with him. That was the.
It'd be nice if that was the story. So now, if that's the story, then let me see if I got this correct. A guy I've never met was supposed to be doing a show with me. And I got so angry, even though I hadn't met him, that I had security keep him out of the building. See, that's the problem with lies. They're faulty from their inception, sir. I'm the person in the story that doesn't have a grudge to feel. I don't care why I didn't like Katt Williams. I would get to the bottom of it. This is not one of those stories. First of all, the actual truth of this matter is, every city that I go to, I already have the comedians who are opening up for me. Not just this tour, but for the 17 100 city tours previous to this. I never go to the city and go, hey, do you guys have some comics here? I'd like to add them to my show. I just don't do it. I travel with the comedians that are coming to your city. We're one unit and one team when we come. That is to let you understand that no comic was fin to come join us that evening because there isn't space for it. I still have to do an hour at the end of this. There's a limited amount of time. So we could just start there. Second of all, I don't care where you're from, what the venue is, how cool you are with the people that work there. Katt Williams show means Katt Williams show. That means don't nothing move but the money. There ain't no loud talking and voice raising and, how dare you? How dare you? Let me look on the advertisements and see, do I see your name or face, sir, whoever you may be? Where would you even get the entitlement to be having this question? This is like me insisting that the Lakers put me on as a starter. And I won't take no for an answer. It's ridiculous. You don't even play in our league. And that's before I knew who you were. Now that I know who you are, I'm just ashamed because you took something personal that couldn't have been personal. I didn't meet you. That's how it would have gone if I wasn't there, because the truth is, I wasn't there. All of this happened before I got there.
What happened with the check? When the security guy gave him
when
the check?
when I asked what the person had said, I said, well, I don't understand. I don't understand why he's so angry. What did he say to you? He said, I'm supposed to be on this show. I said, well, maybe he was expecting to get some sort of a payment. And now he thinks he doesn't get to get paid because we already have a tour. I wouldn't want that. Pay him for performing. So he got the check of the performer. This is what he's angry about. Imagine the audacity. Remember, your story is that I'm kicking you the fuck out. Get out and lock arms and don't let him in. And paying you? Make it make sense, King. So, either you're smaller than I think or I'm bigger. Either one. Like, you can't keep positioning the narrative because that's all this is. This is so that in a conversation in America, there'll be something where he and I are evenly linked. And only people in his hometown are floating that narrative.
You,
I'm
you
really
don't,
him.
you don't believe that there's under any circumstances that you and Ali can come to a resolution, just be cool, like
You've just talked to me. You know
yeah,
I don't have a bone in this.
yeah.
I don't have a bone in this.
So if I got him on the phone, you talk to him.
I would have gave him the celebrity boxing match he asked for if I thought he was a celebrity.
Oh, come on, man. You know Ali a celebrity. Come on,
Sir,
Katt.
I'm not
Come on,
talking.
Katt.
I didn't mean that disparagingly.
Yeah.
I meant that in ticket sales, my nigga. Ticket sales. That's what I meant. I meant I'm doing 7,000 in your hometown while you go do 300. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm talking statistics. I'm talking about the biggest and baddest thing going. And you, a person trying to get in, why would you be mad? It's ridiculous. I'm offended. I'm offended. Why? Because even if it's celebrity boxing, I need you to sell tickets too. I need you to sell these pay-per-view numbers, my nigga. I know I'm bringing it. It's more people that want to see me get laid out by you. And the fact that an upstanding and righteous gentleman like yourself is in that position with the only thing trying to be righteous in our lane is just more machinations of the devil. You should have a much better backstory when you pick me as an opponent.
You know what, man? I'm glad you at least addressed it. Because
when you talk to him and tell him what the truth is, he won't be able to refute it. I told you earlier, he doesn't know this. How could he know? It's okay for you to think that I'm that way, but there are 30,000 known comedians in America that you could have went to, and they would have told you, this is against my character. I am known for confronting my issue head up, be it Satan or his affiliates. I don't care if you 6'6". I don't care if it's 5 of you. I don't care if I'm guaranteed an L. I don't care if you put a gun in my face. I don't care about none of that. I care about doing the right thing as I see it in that moment. Yeah.
Man, how did you get on in the first place as far as like with the movie thing? Like I know I'm skipping over the comedy, but how did you get on with the movie thing? Like specifically, I want to know about Money Mike. I want to know how you got that role.
Right. So here's the whole thing. Liars always come up with terrible lies. So Ricky Smiley says, yeah, Katt was supposed to play the Santa Claus and I was supposed to play the pimp. Liars always have ridiculous narratives. Nobody in America can imagine that a real movie studio would cast 5'5", 145-pound Katt Williams as a fucking Santa Claus, number one. Number two, Ricky Smiley was finna play a pimp. Really? Ricky Smiley has played a woman more times than Ricky Smiley has played a man. He's played Bernice Jenkins 5 times. I got it in my contract that I don't work with Ricky Smiley unless he's playing Miss Bernice Jenkins.
Get out of here, man. That's in your contract for real?
I make my contracts, sir. When you're the master of your masters, everything else is subservient. That's why we have control. That's why we're hated, because there's something to hate. But anyway, so Money Mike, this is my first audition, not just my first movie. It's my first audition. The reason it was so great is because they allowed me to do what I wanted to do, and I needed to do things. So I needed to pick the wardrobe for the character. So Money Mike's wardrobe was impeccable because I designed it, and they made it so. I picked out the car, the color of the car. They had a guy playing a pimp. I need this to be an actual pimp. We need Bishop Magic Don Juan. everything I had to do. Me and KD Albert, who played Donna, and Terry Crews, it was all of our first project, and my job was to make sure that we came off as if we were seasoned actors. And so I put everything I had into that movie, to the point where in the script, Money Mike is raped in the bathroom. Katt Williams changed that. Why? Because it's no way. What do you mean, Kat? There's no way. What are you saying? I'm saying in a place that small, I'm not rapeable. I don't care what has to happen. That's what will happen. And so that's how it changed and became a great movie. And just the thought process that maybe Ricky Smiley was going to do that, it is laughable. But yeah, that was going to be my only movie. So I had to do everything that I could do to make sure that it went the way I needed it to. And I've done that in every one of the 60 movie roles that I've done, and the 50 network television roles.
Man, I'm glad you stood on that, man, because it's a lot of people who would not have. People get blinded by that bread, man, or that opportunity. And
Right.
for you to stand on that says a lot. Because I know Terry Crews would have probably enjoyed it, in real life.
Oh, bless his heart.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Now, how did you get this this knack for comedy in the first place? Like you had a pretty tumultuous childhood. Like, how do you pivot from that and get into comedy?
I didn't find it to be tumultuous.
So at the time, you was living it. You like you
yeah,
didn't see it.
yeah,
like
this is
that.
not tumultuous.
Okay.
But your question was, how did
you find comedy?
A lot of times you have the true appreciation for something when you're not trying to do it. You just like it. So that's the relationship that I had with music, and it was the relationship that I had with comedy. So musically, I could listen to Pearl Jam and the Ghetto Boys. Like, I could listen to 9 Inch Nails, and I could listen to Prince, and I could do that. And comedically, I found that I could do that too. It didn't matter what the comedy person looked like, or how they were built, or where they were from. If they were funny, I was going to be able to tell. So I understood that Don Knotts was out there working his ass off as Barney Fife. I understood he wasn't doing the same job as the rest of them. I understood that laughter is an emotion, and anytime you can tap an emotion, that's very powerful, regardless of what emotion you're tapping.
When you're tapping these emotions, before you deliver the joke, are you cognizant of what it's going to take to deliver that joke? Like, are you already knowing that I know for a fact I don't have to practice this? They're going to be with this right here. When I say this, I'm going to get them.
As a comedian, I have the best fan base in the world, documented.
You do?
The slight amount of advertisement that they allowed me to do, and the fact that in a place as glorious as Houston, they pack the arena to the rafters, is based upon the fact that I, in 1995, started a conversation with a fan base which was maybe 5 people. And through this entire time, I've kept up the same conversation with the same people as they grow. And I'm letting you see me win. I'm letting you see me lose. I'm never allowing the product to be affected by what's going on because this is the greatest relationship here. So, yeah, consequently, bam, they know some things when I come to town. They know I'm finna bring the baddest comedians with me. That's who's gonna be opening up. They know this all over the country. And then they know that whatever it is Katt's gonna talk about for an hour, they know he did not talk about this the last time he was here. They know
Man,
that.
how in the hell do comedians get away with that anyway? Because I'm not going to see the same comedian tell the same jokes, 100 times in a row.
You
Like,
let
some of these guys are
you let a
still-
rapper rap the same songs though. And you let a singer sing the same songs, the classics, and you'll allow that. And so
Yeah, but funny is supposed to be spontaneous. So that's the difference.
Well, understand that comedy has its roots long before social media. So before social media, you might have heard that this comedian is funny, right? And somebody might have told you what he said, but it didn't sound that funny to you. They just told you what he said. But when you see him in person, oh, he's hilarious. And so comedy always had a cycle where you showed the whole circuit your body of work. It's just comedians had gotten so lazy that they were doing one great set that they had on Comic View or Def Jam, and they were touring that for 15 years without changing it. And so we made it a part of our effort to push the fact that you should be writing new material and shaming the community into it by just, I'm going to keep putting out these specials and it's new material. How long are you going to continue to tell these jokes? Because in a minute, the audience is going to be like, no, they got to say something new. And eventually the audience did do that. And
Well, some audiences show up and they want you to say the old joke. They demand that you tell the old joke.
I don't have not one of those people in my fan base because they know better. They know that I would never let you pay me so you can hear some shit I already said. I respect you too much for that. What you gonna get from me is brand new. This is new.
Right now you have 12 comedy specials.
Okay.
Is there a magic number in mind, or you just want to just keep running to make sure you got the all-time number and that's secure for? Are you already at the top? You got more.
I'm in no way. I'm in no way counting numbers.
You've done.
I'm saying if 12 is the most, if 12 was the most, there's not a number because I'm not putting a number to it. But I've been special that many times for an hour.
17 tours, 100 cities. That is a lot of work. That's enough work for a few lifetimes. Most comedians won't even get 100 cities. Well, most comedians ain't gonna do that one time. And how do you continue to come up with this new material? Because you do new material every single time you show up. That's crazy.
It's a new show every single time I show up.
Man, that is crazy. I'm a comedy connoisseur. I follow comedy. Most of the comics that are the top dogs right now, as far as like in some of our heroes in comedy, I was there when they were like working on their first jokes.
Yeah.
I was watching them and supporting them way back then. But that is a tough feat to be able to do something like that. And I think that the reason why...
Not in 24 years.
Yeah. Huh. I think the reason why people like you is so much, what you do is you resonate with them so much is like what you just said. You show them the good and the bad side of you but also you're talented. You're very talented, but at the same time you do show the good and the bad. And it's something appealing about being transparent to an extent.
Oh, not just to an extent, to the utmost. As soon as you, as a person, decide that you're not gonna lie anymore, and that whatever problem that you have, you're gonna deal with that problem right then where it presents itself, it'll show you a whole new side of you. It's very important. It's very important. When you lie and allow lies, for some people it's just, I'm just a little delusional. No, it's dangerous for you to do that to yourself. It's very unnecessary for you to.
You was on this radio station in Atlanta, and this host made a joke about you, and you killed a man, for I don't know how long that was, but man, I was like, time out, call the police, something, stop this slaughter, man. You was like, you really did a bad, and you didn't, I don't think you cursed one time.
I was just going to say, be very careful when you say how badly I did her, because I never called her out of her name.
But that's what I'm saying.
I was very composed.
That's my point.
But let me explain it. Let me give you the exclusive.
No, let me make the point. Okay. You're one of the few, only you and Bruce I've ever seen do that before. Destroy a heckler or someone that was challenging you or whatever. Mm-hmm. Destroy them, for several minutes. Bruce killed this chick for about, I don't know, man, about 25, 30 minutes one night in Houston. And I never seen anybody else do that but you. 25, just back to back, gut busting, same person, right. No cuss words.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before, so how were you able to maintain your composure for that long?
Well, a very interesting thing happens when you try to trap something that's bigger than your trap. So imagine you set out a trap for a turtle and a rhinoceros steps into it. It's finna be a whole different situation now. So this lady behind the scenes is begging me to come into this interview that I've not scheduled, that I don't want to do, that I'm not dressed for, that nobody's called me about. She just wants it. To the point where she says, Katt, come on, you just want to Emmy for the city. I just want to give you your flowers. Well, I won't talk about kids. I won't talk about no jail. I won't talk about... This is the conversation she has with me, and then goes in that room and doesn't mention the Emmy, and immediately begins to... Because this is a comedian. You're trying to undermine me. Atlanta is a heavily LGBTQ plus positive city, and the fact that you having a heavy gay fan base would try to degrade me, a heterosexual, by making it seem like I'm gay. Gay people don't feel that way about me. Why would you? So it was a terrible thing that she found herself in. And comedically, you're outmatched. My defense is impenetrable. My offense will have the precise amount of viciousness that's necessary. If that means no cussing, that's fine. I don't want to talk to you and hurt heavy-set women's feelings, or dark-skinned women's feelings, or women who wear wigs' feelings. I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm bantering with you because you keep acting like you're qualified to do that. Yeah. So, it was a setup. I'm always going to be prevail if I'm being set up.
You think Buddy was in on it? Her co-host? You think he was in on that? He didn't appear to be in on it.
No. Because here's the whole thing. He kept trying to get her to pull the plug on this, and she kept not. So she didn't understand even after we cut. She didn't understand what had happened. She still thought that she had been victorious, and yeah.
And then she tried to play the victim.
No, she played the victim. Her husband was willing to kill one of the greatest comedians to... Yeah, I'm saying... And remember, all of this has to happen. I have to allow it to happen. I have to also preserve my life. And then, after I do all of that, then I have to not press charges on you to these police as if a crime has not been committed upon me.
A pimp named Slickback. Ah, man.
Thank you for saying the whole thing.
Look, man.
Like a Tribe Called
Yeah, you got to say the whole thing.
That is correct.
A pimp named Slickback.
Yes.
Man, that is one of the most iconic roles in television history. How did that come about?
Dumb people love dumb people, and geniuses try to find people that are on their mental platitude. So Aaron Magruder is one of the finest black writers that we've had.
Yes.
And the fact that he started his journey in the real trenches, writing for newspapers and getting syndicated across the country before he ever came to the next platform is what made him so formidable. So it was a joy to be able to work with him. Just like, when I do work with Donald Glover, we get the Emmy. Like, it's because you're dealing with compatible wavelengths. Like Donald Glover told me, Katt, here's a script. If you do this role right, you'll win an Emmy for it. I said, that's the only way I know to do it is right. And won the Emmy.
Well, I know there's a lot of advantages to doing what you do, being in the entertainment industry, but what's like the biggest thing that you can't stand about this industry?
Nothing. I like it.
Shit, I don't know who you think you're talking to.
I like it.
Now you let's.
I love my op as myself.
Yeah.
I think it's great. On our side of things, it's flourishing. It's never been better. All the people on our side are seeing that prayers do work and that you really have control of your mind more than you think you do. And if you could somehow possibly stop thinking the way you do and think another way, it might help you. And you'll know right away if it does. That's the benefit, is each one of these days you're getting could really be the one.
What's one of the wildest things that has happened to you or you've seen happen in your time in this entertainment space?
Yeah, sorry, Vlad. I ain't seen nothing. I collect the footage, but I haven't seen anything.
You were doing so good, man. I mean, you was just doing so good, and then all of a sudden you just decided.
Well, no, here's the thing. What you asked was, you said, hey, Wolf, What do you hate about the sheep? Nothing. Nothing. I feel good. I feel like we're in a good position. Everything's going to be fine. Let's go, Coach Prime.
Yeah. What do you think about
We
Coach
coming.
Prime? What's up with Coach Prime? You have you been out there yet, Colorado?
No, but I've supported from afar.
Yeah.
I'm saying anytime a great individual, regardless of what he does, finds something that he can be great in, like, that's going to work. Like, he is a motivating factor and an asset to it. He always has been since the Jerry Curl days. Those are the leaders of men that we discussed earlier. An eternal optimist, someone that's clever and about books and hard work and discipline. As a black person, we should be so lucky as to have, a black coach like that. And as a non-black person, what a great job.
Man, you just described yourself, except the coach part. And then I take that back. You are a coach in your own right.
And you as
Yeah.
well. That's the whole thing. Like, these compliments are all shared by all of us who receive them. Like, that's what it's got to be. If you any reflection of me, then that's what it is. That's why in the good book it say, made in God's image. It don't mean you're always going to do that, but it means there's the possibility that you could mirror that.
Yeah. Do you have adopted children?
I'm an empty nester. I have no children at this point. I glory and hallelujah. No, everybody's grown. Yeah, but yeah, I got grandbabies.
You got grandbabies. Okay.
Yeah.
How many?
4.
4. Nice.
All girls.
Oh yeah.
See? That's how you know he's been doing something right.
What are the ages?
Of what?
The girls.
The grandbabies?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a 6, 2 4s, 11 months, and 2.
That's 5.
Yeah. I realized it as you said it. I didn't know how to change the story. Okay, so I got 5 grandkids.
Wait, what do they call you?
I got 5 daughters. I can't get anybody to call me anything that I ask for. They've already made a decision, and that's what they call me. There's nothing I can do about it. And I'm not going to say what it is. It sounds like stop or something. I don't know.
Right. Well, man, we appreciate you coming on the show, man.
I
really
appreciate
do,
you
man.
having me. You're an
yeah.
icon and a legend yourself, and just the fact that you would spend time interviewing others is magnificent. And nobody asks worse questions. You have the worst questions in all of interviewing, and you can count on it. Nobody's going to mimic your questions. So, yeah, it's an honor. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Katt Williams.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No more talk.
Willie D live.